insane and laughs. That was a long series of laughing.
It's been a long day, man.
It's been a long day. Yes.
When not on a project, not at a convention, and when you were in Chicago, do you do stand-up comedy?
No, I've always wanted to do stand-up comedy, though. I keep gearing up towards it. I think I'm going to probably hit an open mic at some point.
I feel I'm at an open mic right now.
Is it? It's a little open mic. This is like stand-up comedy, but it's really easy, because at any moment I can be like, oh, Austria just farted, and everyone will laugh. And that wouldn't work in a regular crowd. So it's a little bit like being a superhero comedian. But I definitely want to do it. I like the comedy. Yes? Yeah, you know, all the Warner Brothers stuff, Mel Blanc, like all that stuff was mine. That was my jam. We always used to try to imitate. Well, you know what we did a lot of imitating was we did a lot of dialects. We did a lot of accents. It was always very important to us to be able to do British. And for some reason, we always wanted to do South Asian Indian dialects. I do not know why. And my voice is a little shredded right now, so I can't. I can't rock the dialects as much as I normally do. I did Russian for a movie. It was a movie, it's coming out in May, I think, called Amerigeddon. Hey, what's going on? Is everything okay? Okay, give the crew a round of applause for being awesome. I just want to commit, like, he was like, I am not going to make any noise, I'm not going to bug his panel, but I got stuff I got to get fixed back here. And that's just, you know, it's hard. The staff here works really, really hard. And I was serious at the opening ceremonies when I said, this is the best anime convention that I've ever been to. It's the best run and the best fans. Like I said, Youmacon comes close, but Youmacon's in Detroit, and this is in Seattle, so there's a little bit more better seafood and stuff. It's a little cooler. Detroit's cool too, but yes. I don't know, you know, it blends, all of them blend. Dr. Stein is awesome, but Kululu is amazing, and Hero's awesome. I like all my characters. There's some I don't like as much, like,
What the heck?
What'd I do?
Oh my god.
I don't know why I did that. Watch your heads. Someone's like, oh, my eye! I can cosplay a zombie. There's some of the characters I haven't liked as much as other ones, like, you know, when you're in the...
Is there a woodpecker in there?
Hello? When they're the fan servicey shows...
Oh, he might be testing. Testing
The fan... I think I fixed it. You know, the fan servicey shows, I don't like the characters I play in there, you know, where it's like girls and boys and it's all, you know, whatever. That's not my favorite. I still do it and I do a really good job at it, but those aren't my favorite characters. Yeah, back here.
Is there a character that you ever wanted to play, or I guess you would ask, is there a character that is your dream role that you haven't played?
Like a type of character or a character I didn't get cast? Yeah, I would like to do Richard II in Shakespeare. Shakespeare's Richard II. I could still rock a Henry V. I think I could. He was a little younger than me, but I could still probably bust that out. Stage gives you a little bit more leeway. I got to do Iron Man for Death Battle, which was fun. I could do some Tony Stark. Ooh. I've played Sherlock Holmes on stage before. That was a favorite of mine. I would also like to... I was trying to think if there was any superhero I could be eventually. Like, oh yes, Doctor Who. That's the one I want to do most of all.
Yes?
Yes, they've gotten our Superman, they've gotten our Batman, they've gotten our Spider-Man. They're always James Bond. You know, and Americans are never James Bond, they're never Doctor Who. I think it's about time Great Britain allows an American to be one of their superheroes. I'm hoping it happens. No, I'm gonna make it happen. Yes.
So, I am an amateur on stage. I was wondering if you could give me any tips on like how to stay calm or how to get nervous, something that might be like
Yeah, getting calm. I'll tell you this, like emceeing the opening ceremonies today reminded me that I still get nervous. Because it is, I don't care how good you are, a room that size with that many people, with that short of a time to know what's gonna happen, because you pretty much just get there and they hand you a script and they're like, okay, and they're gonna go and then you go and then this happens. And you're like, okay. And then you're like, okay, what am I gonna do? And that, to get myself unnervous, I was like, I should just do this like I do everything. Which is why I did the headstand. Because I was like, I always do a headstand. And so I was like, I better do the headstand. And I'm like, that made me more nervous. But then once I completed it, then I was calm. Then I was like, oh, okay, I did the thing I always do. So, and remember, like, I woke up this morning at 4, kind of panicked about emceeing the opening ceremonies because I saw how huge the audience was in my mind. And I literally, just in my mind, shrunk it to the size of a panel room. And I went, in my brain, and I was like, oh, I can handle that. So shrinking, like visualizing things shrinking down, like imagining people naked doesn't make you not nervous, that makes you scared. Because you're like, why are all these naked people here? And breathing is number one, always breathing, and having habits or rituals you do before you get on stage. Like, this is what I do to warm up. I stretch out this leg, then I stretch out that leg, then I do these vocal warm-ups, and then I stretch out here and do this. So having a pattern that you run through, because we don't, I mean, we think that like we're all supposed to be able to just get up in front of groups of people and talk, but they've done studies on the human body, and the most terrifying, the most terrifying thing you can do for a job is to try to land a $40 million aircraft on an aircraft carrier at night in the middle of the ocean during the middle of combat. Like, that is the most stressful job on earth. Number 2, right behind it, is public speaking or acting or getting up on a stage. That stresses the body to that same level. And what do we do in first grade? What do we do in first grade? We're like, Billy, it's time for you to do your Charlotte's Web book report. Stand up in front of the class. And Billy's like, I don't want to. And teacher's like, go. And Billy's like, I'm scared. And teacher's like, talk. And Billy's like, they're laughing. Now my psychology is scarred for life and I'm afraid of things. And the teacher's like, you're using big words. But we make people get up when they're very, very young to do things, and we don't teach them that it's going to be scary. We don't teach them that they're going to be frightened. We don't teach them how to handle it. We don't frame that first moment where they have to stand in front of people in a really safe way. It's usually a very unsafe thing. They get up and they go, Charlotte's Web, what's it? And someone will laugh and they get scared and the teacher tries to push them through it or whatever. And then you do that constantly for the rest of school. You're asked constantly to get up in front of classes and speak. And before you ever got in a $40 million aircraft to land it on an aircraft carrier at night in the middle of combat, you would have a little bit of training, right?
Yeah.
But we don't do that for public speaking, but yet it's the same stress. The limbic system, the reptilian brain, kicks in and the adrenals flow and your body is told to run or kill. And those are, but during Charlotte's Web book reports, it's a bad idea. You don't want to run or kill. So, but that's what the chemicals in your body are telling you to do. So recognizing that you're nervous is like I had to do that today. I had to say out loud, wow, I'm nervous. I'm nervous for this. This is making me a little nervous. But vocal warm-ups and your sort of traditional habits of getting, and then the other thing is when you're on stage, if you start focusing on yourself, like you're not, number one, you're not vulnerable. which is the best way to be in front of a group of people because they're like, oh, or, drawn into what you're doing. So the best way to be on stage in front of a group of people is to focus on anybody else but yourself. To focus on the group and if you're up by yourself, you have to focus on the audience and make them your partner. But if you're on stage with a fellow actor, you just make them the most incredible actor in the world. Just think they're amazing, and that they could be terrible, but you'll make them a better actor because they'll, if they're playing a bad guy and they're giving you their bad guy look like this, and it doesn't really have anything behind it, but if they do that and you go, and have a serious reaction to it, it'll be like, wow, that look was so simple but so powerful. So you can make the other people around you look better, and consequently, you're not going to be nervous, you'll be more vulnerable, and you'll look like a better actor. Yes?
What's the most embarrassing thing that's happened to you in your career?
Most embarrassing thing that's happened to me in my career. All of it? No. It's a little embarrassing. It's a little silly. Sometimes, like when I met Jessica and she and I were courting, she told me, we were going to visit her mom for Christmas. And I was like, well, it's going to be good to get to know your mom. And she was like, oh, well, she's already watched all your YouTube videos. I was like, oh my God. Because, I've done my shoes on, I'm doing headstands, I'm telling fart jokes. It's just, I was like that's embarrassing. There was one time during Shin-Chan where Hiro Nohara had to do a striptease. And he was just taking off his business clothes and getting in his comfy, same thing we all do when we get home. We're like, forget these clothes, I'm in pajamas, but he was like being all sexy, and sexy isn't really that, it's not in my wheelhouse. If it is, it's accidental. So it's like, I was like, ooh, hot for Hero, and I had to be all like sexy and strip-teasy, and it embarrassed me. And Zach and Peter, the director and engineer, thought it was so funny that I was embarrassed. They played it back, and I was like, oh God, I can't, it's terrible. And so they locked me in the booth, and then proceeded to bring, like in a string of 4 and 5 people, the rest of Funimation in to watch me be embarrassed. Because I have a reputation of not, I'm fairly sure of myself, mostly because I don't get embarrassed that often, or if I do, it doesn't bother me, but this really bothered me, and so they were so pleased by it, they locked me in the booth and tortured me for the next 20 minutes. It was awesome. Yeah, it's a question here.
As a wannabe voice actor,
Right?
Is it true for you that certain characters, certain voices just come along with a certain face?
Yeah, no, that is true. And they've done studies, and it's interesting, on the muscles in the human face, and they do functional magnetic resonance fMRIs. And what you do physically with your face muscles, regardless of the intention or emotion behind them, affects what happens in your brain. The famous test is the bite test. If you bite a pencil like that, activating the smile muscles, the pleasure centers light up in your brain. If you bite it like that, forcing you to frown, it activates the upset part of your brain. So the way you operate your face changes what your brain is feeling. And I used to teach recovering addicts at an inpatient program in Chicago, and I used to because I would notice that all the heroin addicts had a certain facial mask, and all the crack cocaine addicts had a different facial mask. And it was this, this permanent scowl. And so my whole work with them was like, we gotta change your face. Like, let's change the way your face operates, and we can maybe change the way your brain operates. And so you'd see them get into an addictive response when we would do improvs. Specifically, I was conducting improvs for, excuse me, their first day when they would get out. And I was like, where are you likely to first face your first temptation? And we'd set up the scene and roll them through it, and you'd see them I could tell when they weren't really playing the improv. I'm like, no, you have to really feel this temptation. because you're really gonna feel this temptation. And you'd see the guys kind of get up there and phone it in, like, yeah, okay, Joe, no, thanks, man, I don't know, I don't want it. I'm like, no, wind that back. And I would wait till I saw that, you know, the sort of face they'd have, and I'd side coaching, and I'd be like, good. Now hold there for a minute, see what that feels like, and they'd be like, ah. I'm like, now get yourself out of it. But it all had to do with facial expression. But yeah, I'm a very physical character actor. I like to physically become the characters. When I travel British, I get treated a lot nicer. People think I'm smarter, and they actually think I'm more handsome. I don't know why, that guy's more handsome when he's British. Jessica thinks so.
Do you have a face for Kululu?
Clicky poo. Yeah, I guess that's it. Here. Dragon of the darkness. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. It's funny because I originally went through the Aura Host Club's blooper reels, and some of the funniest bloopers was yours. The question I had, this might be just
Creepy Dr. Nabu?
No, not Creepy Dr. Nabu. For Aura Host Club, it was the newspaper, the head of the newspaper club, and some of the.
Was that me?
I don't. Was it?
Not very similar to you.
Does it say I am? I thought it was only Creepy Dr. Nabu in Oran High School.
I don't even.
Maybe you're that, or you have a very good impression of Sid Foundation that can do that guy too.
Who would be that guy? Is any Oran fans here? Who's the guy he's talking about?
Have you seen anything besides the episode you?
No.
Okay. He basically runs the newspaper club, and he wants to get rid of the host club.
No, that wasn't me. I'm sorry.
Well, I can still have this question.
Sure. All right.
When you go into the studio, how often do you bloop? And is there any points where you guys go out of your way to bloop?
We don't go out of our way to bloop. Typically when I bloop, it's an accident. And now I can make nothing but fart jokes in my head, so. Yeah, you don't, the best bloopers are the ones that are totally accidental. And I never remember them, but they're always the most fun. I think Funimation has missed the boat on DVD extras, because like, everybody loves the DVD extras, the commentaries and stuff. I keep threatening to do I'm gonna watch all of Soul Eater and just do commentaries on it and then like post it online or
Woo!
like MST3K, yeah. I think I might do it. I don't know.
We'll watch it.
I'm lazy. I'm not lazy, I work a lot, yeah. No, we don't have to get along with them. We're typically in the booth by ourselves. But we've all been in the industry for so long, like, it's really interesting because there might have been a couple of like interpersonal whatever things that happened at some point but by now they're all gone and we're all just part of the same team. So everybody's kind of like, oh, it's good to see you. Everyone's real happy to see each other. But I do get along with Vic and Todd a lot because we work on the Star Trek Continues together and we get to hang out a lot and that's always fun. And Todd's really funny. When we did episode 3 where it was the mirror universe and he had to wear the sticky goatee that he would stick on his face, he couldn't laugh, otherwise it would pop off. So we were always trying to make him laugh. I think you can find a video online of him, like Vic and I trying to make him laugh and then him running out of the room trying not to laugh, like that was fun. Yes, in the back. Huh? I loved Baccano. Baccano is when I felt like I finally turned into an anime fan because, I've been an anime fan since college, since my first year in college. And I liked Star Blazers and G-Force and Speed Racer and stuff when I was a kid, but I didn't really know. I was like, those are good cartoons. I didn't realize what I was watching. When I got to college in Chicago, there was this really cool video store that had this section called anime. We were like, what is that? I bet we can watch that. And we'd like go every weekend and pick up some new anime and watch it. But and I never knew what it was. They were usually standalones or movies or short episodics. But Baccano was the first time I truly felt like an anime fan because I was the script adapter for it. And I was really proud of all the sort of work I'd put into it, getting the 20s slang in there and making the characters all very distinct, have distinct voices. And I got to the end of writing it. And I'd been working on it nonstop for about 18 hours because I had a deadline. It was like 3 in the morning and I got to the very last scene and suddenly the credits rolled and I was like, no, it's all over? No! And I started crying and I was like, I'm crying for an anime, I'm an anime fan! And I was like, I can just watch it when it comes out. I can watch it again, Chuck, it'll be okay. But yeah. 10 minutes? All right, we got 10 minutes left. Yes.
So, I don't know if you saw it, but like, it's on YouTube. There's a bunch of these.
I've seen it all.
Have you?
Yeah. Everything on YouTube.
Every single
I
video.
need to drink water. So, there was a room in a booth and with a bunch of Japanese voice actors, and it was for One Piece, and they were all together in a room. Would you guys or Funimation ever want to like try that, like a group read?
You can only do that for prelay, which is where you're recording before it's animated.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah, and so you can be a lot more interactive, and then they animate to what you record. We did that a little bit for Dragon Age: Legend of the Seeker, where I played Frennick, the Dragon Age movie. Is that what it was called? I can't remember. Dragon Age something. That was prelay, and we got to do that up at Funimation. That was pretty fun. We had 2 or 3, like if there was a scene between 2 or 3 people, we were all in the booth. So that was cool. It is more fun to do it that way. Yes. All right, I have 3 answers. One of them is pistachios.
How did you end up working for JetBlue?
I don't remember. Yes, I do. Marissa, who is their casting director, sent out an email. And I was like, I don't know who this is. And then I remembered, wait a minute, this could be an opportunity. Just like that crazy audition I did back in the day for Dragon Ball Z. And so I was like, okay, this seems weird. And I didn't know Death Battle at the time. And so I was like, heck yeah, I'll do that. And they were like, oh my gosh, Chuck Huber's coming in to record for us. And I was like, okay, so they thought it was, and now they've had a bunch of people do it, a bunch of voice actors. But yeah, it was an audition, and I was like, okay. And that was amazing, because like, those things are popular. And it was weird, they sent me a link like, hey, we just went live. And I was like, cool. And I opened it up and it was like, you like look at the video and it's like 25,000 views. You're like, oh my gosh. And then you like hit refresh and it's like 32,000 views. You're like, oh my gosh. You come back 20 minutes later, it's like 140,000 views. You're like, I've never had that experience before where you're like, right now, 1 million people are watching the thing I just did. Where I'm Tony Stark, which was awesome.
Second question, what are your thoughts on Team 4 Star?
I love Team 4 Star. I think any fan-created work, this is where I come down on copyright and licensing. I think streaming illegally stuff is bad. I think that hurts the industry and hurts the actors and hurts creativity and hurts the corporations and eventually hurts the fans. But I think once you've purchased the material, I think if you want to turn it into a hat or a brooch or a pterodactyl, you do whatever you want with it. You know what I mean? Like it is yours to play with. It's like what Banksy, the famous graffiti artist, said. He said, asking a corporation to use their, stuff that they produce is like asking the guy who just threw a brick at your head if you can use the brick. Because it's like when Star Wars was coming out, we were being pummeled with Star Wars. You could not turn around without having Star Wars. And then if you were to do a fan Star Wars thing for, Lucasfilm or Disney to be like, you're in trouble, it'd be like, no, I'm not. It's a fan, it's a fan expression. And I even think, because people make money doing fan things with YouTube and Google ads and ad clicks or whatever. And I think that's totally fine. I don't think it definitely, for something to be copyright infringement, it would have to make people not buy or not watch the property. And the truth is, something like Team 4-Star makes more people watch Dragon Ball Z, broadens the group of people. Things like for CBS or Paramount or anybody involved with Star Trek to be mad at Star Trek Continues, which they're not. They love us, and Rod Roddenberry, who's the executive producer on Star Trek 6, is a big fan of ours, just shouted out to us in an interview. So we're doing it right, but there is no way anybody could say that somehow Star Trek Continues is making people watch less Star Trek. All this free advertising we're doing for your property in an amazing way, they're not gonna get mad at that. So I think fan-created stuff is awesome, and I think everybody should be doing it. I think it's gonna be the way things happen in the future, yes.
What's the funnest or funniest line you've ever voiced?
I propel myself by farting. Actually, that was Tamama's line, but I like it the most. It's from Sergeant Frog. I think it's very funny. Yes?
Oh my god.
Out of all the animes you've worked on, what's your favorite to watch?
It's funny because a lot of times if I'm in an anime, I will be watching it like, yeah, this is awesome. And then my character's about to come on, I'm like, oh, this show is great. And then my character comes on, and I'm like, oh yeah, faker, fake, that guy's fake. He's a faker fakington with fake face. Because I can't trick me, apparently. I did a little bit in Soul Eater, that didn't bother me as much, but it still takes me out of it. But Baccano, because I played such a small part in it, I was the devil and Ronnie Seacart, Baccano was one that I watched start to finish that I was like, oh, that's awesome. And same with Full Metal Alchemist, that was one that I was like, that show is amazing. DBZ I've never been able to watch. I watched the movies and I watched the Android Saga, but I tried to get my kids to watch it, and we sat down, like my 15-year-old at the time, back in the day, and he was like, I was like, this is my show, you wanna watch my show? He's like, yeah, okay, let's check it out. And we're watching it, and I probably made a mistake starting him on DBZ at 15, should have caught him at 11 or 12 to get it. But we were watching it, and he was like, and he's like a chess nerd, and likes to study Latin. And so we're watching it, and he's like, this fight is taking way too long. And I was like, yeah, you know what? You're not gonna like this. So, yeah, but Baccano is one I really enjoyed. Probably got time for one more question. Yes?
It's not exactly a question,
All right.
but I have a thing for you.
You have a thing for me? All right, bring it up here. Oh, please, Gold Krugerrands. Gold Krugerrands!
I was just in a cosplay competition, like an iron competition, and I won it, and I don't have anything to do with it.
What?
And I thought you'd find it funny.
What is it? It says instant boobs.
That's a winner.
I love this. This is going somewhere in my house in a place of honor and prominence. Probably in my studio I can see where it goes on the monitor speaker right there. Because you'll see it and you'll be like, that's a bunch of Japanese writing. And then you get close and you're like, oh, instant boobs. Oh, they inflate. You put them on here and you go, and they go, oh my God. That is awesome, thank you. Okay, last question.
So, I was wondering that since you have all these different accents you do a lot, were there any other characters you auditioned for in Italia besides Austria?
Yeah, I wrote Hetalia and I auditioned for a lot of them, and I ended up with Austria. I'm really glad I did. Austria is a really fun character. Yeah, I did England. I did Russia, but my Russian does not sound like the Russian Japanese. I couldn't do that. the Russian like this. This is how the Russia would sound. Right? Yeah. And I had a pretty good America, but Eric Vale's America was way more American. Mine was more like a bro. I was gonna make him like the broest bro in the world, bro. I saw a t-shirt at, I forget where I was shopping, where I bought these pants just yesterday, and because my pants were in the dryer and I forgot to take them out and pack them, because I only have 3 pairs of pants. I don't have a lot of clothes. And there was a show that, there was a t-shirt that said, "Don't bro me till you know me." And I was like, that shirt is almost bad enough for me to get. All right, thanks guys, you've been awesome. If you want to see me, I'll be in the dealer's hall. I love you, and you're amazing.